Some of y'all think I'm dumb, and some of y'all think what I thought. I'm telling you right now, when I would go to the museum, I would admire the brushstrokes, I'd admire everything, but I would be like, this is the fake one though. Like this has to be the fake one. And I thought that because, if you remember, right before 2020 and even after the pandemic, you would have activists. They would go to museums. Climate activists would go to museums and they just throw like tomato soup on supposedly priceless paintings, right? They would go up to like a Van Gogh and be like, blah, and then they glue themselves to the wall or something, and then they would be like, this is why we did this, and you will have to listen to me for as long as it takes to unsuperglue my hand from the wall. Because people who are climate activists feel like no one is listening to the point where the only thing that will get any attention or like stop people for a second to listen to them is just extreme acts that knock you out of whack. You know what I mean? Just things that you go, what? What? They did what? Why did they do that? And then they get to explain. It's like the better version of canvassing. Because they tried to canvass. They really did. Everyone that cares about the climate tried to canvass, and what did you walk by? They were like, do you have a minute for the planet? And you're like, I'm headed to work, please. I was with a friend one time, and look, I've stopped plenty of times. I can't stop every time. And so they were like, do you have a minute for the planet? And then my buddy was like, no, we're good, and kept walking, having a good day. And this dude got really bad. This dude canvassed and was like, you are the planet? You don't have a minute for the planet? You are? But that was happening a decent amount. There were these supposedly priceless paintings. They were getting vandalized, people throwing Campbell soup on them and everything. So then I was like, surely a museum would not allow Campbell soup to get thrown on the real one, like the regular one, because the museum was always super chill about it. The museum, they would like throw tomato soup on a Van Gogh and the museum would be like, stuff happens, we don't get it all. You know what? You're gonna get it all because when I got close, when I tried to smell the painting, I heard, and then you came over, no smelling. You just get it off, no big deal. Or you would see things like you would see, I don't know about you, but the tomato soup that I eat got a little oil to it, and you throw it on oil painting, it seems like it might leave a stain. I have no idea. But then you would see the museum come out and be like, no permanent damage was done to the artwork. And I'm like, how? I dropped suits that were clear. I'm not looking for that same level. How is this 200-year-old painting fine? It must be a fake. I used to think that, look, if you go to a museum and you see just like you can touch it, that one can't be real. But if you go to a museum and it's behind glass, that's the real one. Because they bothered to protect it. Why are you just bothering to protect some pieces? That doesn't make sense to me. So then, in my head, I was like, those are the jewels. That's just colored glass. People so stupid they ran up in there and risked their freedom for colored glass. And then the French government came out and said, priceless items have been stolen from the book. And I was like, that's the real jewel. Y'all didn't run any armed security around the real crown jewels. For a split second, I felt like it was my money. I was like, what are y'all doing? Oh, I need to sit down. Right, you said it was priceless. And then, right, saying it was priceless, they were like $100 million. I was like, oh, seems like a price. You said prices for a day and a half, and then immediately I was like, I think 103 probably. At least round up to 110. And then, in my opinion, the museum handled it wrong. They're over here freaking out. Everybody, the French government, they got everybody on it. They got like their version. The FBI, they have the local police, they have everybody on it. They plastered all the jewels over. listening all over international news. If I was trying to save face, let's say I was head of museum security, and I was trying to save face, I would come out to the public immediately after the robbery and be like, y'all, that was Banksy. Y'all know Banksy played too much. But this is where I wish that they had done a better job of being creative, being inventive. You know, you've just been robbed, one of the boldest robberies that we've seen. And you are the most visited museum in the world. Why don't you just see this as a W? You know what I mean? Instead of freaking out and shutting down the whole wing and staying closed for a day, all you gotta do is put that tape around the crime scene and make that an exhibit. We all want to see it. Bring people in. Make the security guards that didn't do their job. The tour guys just be like, it was cool. They ran up and I was like, hey, get out of here. And they were like, bing, bing, bing. I was like, you right. All right, I'll go. But I'm telling everybody, and that's what I'm telling you now. Yeah, you can leave the glass right here. Take a piece of glass home. You can take a piece of glass home if you want. The jewels used to be right there. That's crazy, right? Jewels used to be just like the light used to hit it like that, but then they brought the grinder and it's. But they were real. That's why I'm doing this now, else I'd be fired. No, it sucks. It does. It sucks because, like, it's just gonna turn museum security into TSA. Yeah, I mean, cause look, this one, as far as museum security goes, this was their 9/11. So, if you're gonna roll up in there and have a good time, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna show up and they're gonna be like, alright, shoes off. They all gonna have the wand now. No. Brutal stuff. You can walk into your local museum. You're not even in France. But there's gonna be that security guard takes his job extra seriously. Like, you can go get me, not today. Hands down. Hands down. No, I got you. You can have anything. You can have an angle grinder in your pants or something. You know, we have some very expensive cups here. I love a tour guide at a museum because they'll tell you how expensive something is. And at least with the pottery, maybe this is me not being cultured, but some of the pottery that's in museums, and then they'll tell the story of how the pottery got to the museum, and then they'll be like, you know, this is worth easily $100,000. And I'm like, nah, it's not. It's not. Like, it isn't. Like, it is not. As much as it is here, it is not worth that. Like the function of is, like it is here, like it exists, like it is. It is here, and it is not worth that. And you know how it's not? I know it's not worth that. I know it's not worth that because you had to tell me how much it was because I thought it was worth nothing. I thought y'all dug it up and brought it here because y'all were like, this was just to the ground. Isn't that interesting? I bet you people aren't leaning over the register at the gift shop being like, how much was that clay cup? I only have 50,000 on me. Dang. I would have loved that clay cup that looked like a caveman did. Because I need to be clear here. I'm not just trying to be rude. The one that I'm talking about, it wasn't like some beautiful African art. It wasn't like a Greek pot or something that was painted with a story on it or anything. It just looked lumpy. It just looked lumpy to the point where I was like, even when they drank out of this, there's no way they got the water on a consistent basis. like it pours when it wants to. Lip up and all uneven and everything. This is $100,000. You sure you didn't look at it too fast and add 2 extra zeros? Because I don't think so. There was a guy. There was a really rich guy there. I don't know, but everybody's saying how rich he was. And he got on the Instagram to actually physically cry about the crown jewels being stolen. And he gave his full speech about how, like, the robbers, there's this assumption that the robbers aren't gonna be able to just sell the jewels they stole as is. There are plenty of people in the world that would pay the money it would take to sell them just as is, and maybe they just keep it and only they know they have it. But art collectors usually like to show off their collection, and so they can't tell anybody. So it's better just go ahead and maybe melt it down, sell the jewels. The jewels themselves are still very expensive. In fact, you see where throughout history pieces have been stolen. Mona Lisa was stolen before. Pieces sometimes get stolen, but unless you can sell it to someone, what's it really worth? And so there's speculation that already these jewels have been melted down and being sold for parts, or maybe pieces are being sold that might not be able to be traced back to the complete set. And this guy got on social and he was just crying. Dude had to be in his like 50s, something like that, and he was like, it was that crying where, okay, you know, it was like the crying you do when you're little, but you let yourself do it again when you get grown if something gets to you and which is crazy because he went online to cry, but then was fighting the crying. But he's fighting the crying camera, but then just don't turn the camera on yet. Like you let it out real quick and then do your video. You doing a video, like no one put the video in your face, like you doing a video. Wait, just wait. No one asked for this deal. You can wait a day. You can wait till you're over it. Or you could just not do it. This dude got some people just cry like they choking. And it's just and then he said a bunch of stuff, and he did say it in French, I don't speak French, so I'm going to paraphrase from what everybody said he was saying. But I know that some of it was a lot of things, and I know that some of it might be like editable, what he said, because I don't know if he said that, because I don't speak any French. But and then also he didn't even say what he said in French well, because he was crying the whole thing. Maybe someone else trying to make a little bit of that was the accent. Maybe some of that was the accent, because there are certain people that when they speak French, they can seem upset for no reason. So then that's it's like that. Was that a cry or was that one? Were you saying one just now? You were like, or is that you trying to hold it together? Because that's why you should wait to make the big. That's a cry. That was not French. That one. And what this dude basically said was that you didn't just steal from the Louvre. You stole from the French people. You stole a piece of our heritage. You stole a piece of our history. And if you melt that down and repurpose that, if you sell that, you will burn in hell because you have stolen from the people. And I'm sure, I'm almost positive, I don't know everyone who saw the video, I just know that I saw it, but I'm sure if you saw that video and you were from Africa or Brazil or just anywhere, I'm sure you watched it and you were like, oh no. Someone stole a piece of your heritage. Someone in Sri Lanka is like, nah, France. No. What are you gonna do? And look, I can understand if you are from some of those other countries, if you're from like an African country or something like that, if you're from Haiti, you see this thing, that you might be like, oh no, not the Louvre. They have art stuff too. Did they steal art stuff? That's gonna be hard to find. Because that's also what was there. So now, oh no. Someone stole it. I just love the story so much. I love the robbers. Because look, they even showed they weren't just regular construction outfit. They had on, you know what I mean? Mask, top and bottom, you know, they were wearing the boxes.
I'm tired.
I love this part so much because it feels a lot like somebody that runs a trap house robbing a stash house. They're the person with the stash house. Like, we got called.